Hey everybody, it's Coach Lynn and I'm here with my sidekick Paige, and we are really excited for our series on the Mills Gymnastics virtual class run. We are going to be working with our cheerleaders mostly, but everything that we do will work for anybody who wants to get better flexibility or better skills, better tumbling skills. So we really hope that you enjoy our class today. We're going to be working today on stretches that will take your splits from the pits. So if you are feeling kind of down because you used to have flat splits and now you don't, today's class is just for you. We hope you're all ready to get involved with us. We're going to be holding our stretches out for about 30 seconds total. I'm going to be talking you through all of the variety of ways that you can do these stretches from beginner to advanced. And I'm going to be reminding you along the way all the important reasons that you should do these stretches so that you can understand why it's so important for your body. We're going to start today with a pike stretch in a standing position. For most everybody in the beginning, this is pretty easy. So Paige is going to stand up and get in that pike position, feet together, and she's going to touch the floor. For Paige, this is very easy. You want to watch to make sure that your hips and your ankles are on top of each other. So if you're leaning forward or stretching backwards, then you're not quite right because you're cheating the stretch behind your knees. Oops, there it is. Behind your knees right there, that spot right there, that's the spot you need. Ooh, I'm terrible at this. Right there, look guys, right there. That's the spot that you want to get. And if you're not getting that behind your knees, then you're not in, the stretch is not good enough. You can stretch it or make it more advanced by walking your hands closer to your feet and maintaining that same pike position. And if you want to take it one more step to the next level, then you're going to put it off the mat. So Paige is going to step to the yellow panel right over my shoulder, and she's going to do the pike stretch to the floor to show you how she can touch the floor as she's stretching. She's on two mats. You can see that she can't get flat hands, and that's because this is just a little too tough for her at this height. So the taller that your height is, the harder it gets for you. So if you are already feeling pretty flat and that this is too easy, then you want to get out your mat and stretch a little bit longer, or go to a stair step at your house and you can stretch it out there. All right, everybody, so the next stretch that we're gonna do is a straddle. So a straddle, but still from the standing position. So she's gonna get flat on the floor. This is super easy for her. She's gonna have straight legs and touch her hands to the floor. She's again gonna pay attention about where her hips and her feet are. Her feet are gonna be pointing straight forward, no crooked toes. And make sure that when you're doing this, your knees are nice and straight. If you have bent knees, you're cheating. Bent knees are cheating. Is everybody holding? Hold that stretch for 30. That's really good. Now, if she wants to take it a little bit more advanced, she's gonna push her hands right between her legs to the back like that, and it's gonna push her a little bit. Be careful that it doesn't tip you backwards. If it tips you backwards, you wanna readjust your hips so that you're nice and straight. You do not wanna be on an angle because that's cheating. The last thing she's gonna do is take this to the floor off of the mat. So we tried this ahead of time and we know that 2 is still kind of easy for her. So, but she's gonna show you what 2 looks like. And then for the stretch, be careful, do you see how she's leaning on her toes right there? Tip back to those heels. There she goes. So what we're gonna do is, we're showing you this, but we're gonna hold our stretch. She's gonna make her mat taller, and we're gonna hold the stretch in that one. So Paige, go ahead and adjust. For everyone else, if you're already in the right spot, then you don't need to do anything. Paige is gonna set it up to stretch with 3. Here she goes. Like, this gets trickier. The taller you are, the trickier it is to stay balanced. So make sure she's keeping her hips nice and straight. I can see that in my camera. And her hands are not flat. So this is the perfect height for her. I hope you guys are really doing great stretching in this video. It's super important. What you should be feeling is that stretch once again behind your knee right there. That's the spot that hurts. And that spot right there is what holds all of your tumbling and stretching back. Splits back right there behind your knee. You think it's up here or in between in your in between in your thighs, but it's not. It's that spot right there. That spot right there is guilty for your bent legs and your walkover. That spot right there is guilty for your crooked legs and your cartwheel, and your bent legs and your back handsprings. That spot right there, guilty party. All right, everybody. So the next step that we're going to do today is to do some stretches on the floor. The first one is a pike stretch. It's pretty typical. We all know it. We did it in the gym all of the time. Pike stretch. You want pointy toes, and you're going to take your nose and push it towards the floor. Remember that your knees should be straight, straight, straight. Do not let your knees bend. If how far you're reaching is too far, you should be holding while I'm talking. Are you holding while I'm talking? Make sure you're holding while I'm talking. If your hands are stretching so far that your knees are bending, you're too far. If your hands are stretching so far that your knees are bending, you're too far. Make sure that you're keeping your knees and your legs nice and straight so that you can feel that stretch all the way through. And then without coming up, Paige is going to just pull her toes to the ceiling and create flexed feet, okay? And then keep her arms stretched out, right? Be careful, Paige, not to round your back. Try to keep it a little bit flatter. There you go. She's going to pull her chin up a little bit to keep that out so that her back stays flatter. This is a little bit more advanced for people who are a little bit more advanced. That's what you're going to want to do. All right. If you are struggling with this stretch, see how far Paige is, her hands are passing. But if your hands are not passing your feet, okay, you can hold on. Yeah, so if this is a good stretch, you can pull your heels off, and that will give you a different stretch. Pull your heels off, and you can also reach your hands to the insides of your feet, and that will give you a different stretch as well. So those two are variations, but make sure the most important part of this stretching is that your knees do not bend. Your knees are straight. Okay, Paige, we're going to go to a straddle. You might need to stretch your mat back out to even.
Okay.
And in this straddle, we're going to get in the comfortable place. Okay, please do not stretch your straddle so far that your knees are going to bend when you reach. That's not a good place to be. You want your straddle to be in the place where when you start to reach for your toes or reach in front of you, that your straddle can stay looking just like that with straight legs. So she's hanging off a little bit. She has nice pointy toes. I can see them over my shoulder right there. And what she's going to do is she's going to turn her hips and her body to face, and then she's going to put her nose to her knee. And she can also reach, and because she has the mat, she might even use that to give herself a little tug, to see if she can get a little extra stretch. But what you want to do is try to push your chest towards the top of your thigh. That's really the most important. So we always say nose to our knee, but that is a little bit more beginner kind of shape. So what we're looking at here is a little bit more advanced shape. Okay, and she's holding this one for 30 seconds. And then without coming up, she's going to slide all the way around to the other leg. And then she's going to reach one more time. So you can see that this side is a little more tough than the other side for her. And I can tell by how her chest is touching her leg that this is a little bit more difficult. Hey, Paige, be careful with that leg. You're letting it roll in. So do you see, you guys see this leg rolling in? We don't want to do that. We want to keep this leg rolled out. Keeping your knees up to the ceiling. Oof, I'm laying down, y'all. This is crazy. Okay, so she wants to keep her knee to the ceiling, right? Towards the ceiling, okay? All right, now she's gonna come up and reach for the sky, and then with a flat chest, using the front of her leotard, she's gonna push her chest to the floor. Reach. Oh, I didn't want you to put your hands down. Try one more time. Go straight up, and then just push your chest to the floor. Yep. Just like that. So this is what keeps your back as straight as possible so that you can get an excellent stretch. Remember to make sure that your toes are not rolling in. Paige, Rebecca? She can't help it. She says her knees are rolling in. Then you're too far. If your knees are rolling in, you're too far. We can. Okay. And okay, so see, she's adjusted her straddle to allow for her knees to be in the right position. See how her toes are touching the mat right there? We want to make sure your big toes are not rolling in. Yes, ma'am. Very good. Okay, so very good, very good. Okay, y'all, she has pretty good splits, and her stretching is generally pretty easy, but you can see that that stretch with her chest to the floor is still a struggle for her. So don't feel bad if this is gonna be an issue for you, okay? All right, so this is the straddle stretch. This is a floor stretch. So now we've done pike and straddle, and we've done them on the floor and standing. So all of those are designed to help with your legs, the backs of your legs. And now we're gonna concentrate on something that's super important in splits that everyone forgets, and that's your hips. If your hips are not open, then your splits are not gonna happen. So the first thing that we're gonna do is called a frog stretch. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna get into, wait, just hold on, get on your hands and knees position, okay? Yep, in this position. And then you're gonna walk your knees out, walk them out to stretch. And then Paige is trained to use pointy toes because she's a gymnast, but for cheer, we're gonna use flexy feet. So flexy feet, okay? So you're gonna push your toes to the outer, and then you're gonna push the center of your hips to the floor. If you're too far up on your hands, then you're gonna go to this position on your elbows to make it a little bit more comfortable. But you wanna make sure that your legs stay at 90 degrees. Your legs stay at 90 degrees. Oops, those aren't legs, those are legs. Your legs wanna stay at 90 degrees, and your toes are staying flexy, okay? And this is opening up your hips. It's working on those hip flexors, and it's working on that straddle open position. You should be able to feel this right through the middle of your legs and through your hips. Okay, I'm not trying to jump ahead to next week, but I am going to tell you that the better you are at this stretch, the better your jumps are going to be as well. So this one is super important to help keep all of those things in place, okay? All right, that was 30 seconds for sure. So we're gonna come up. And the next stretch that we're gonna do is also for hip flexors and for your rotators in your hips, which are super important for switch splits, okay? So gymnasts don't usually do that, but cheerleaders do it all the time. That's part of our whole round 2 is to make sure that we can do, if we don't have back walkovers on our team, then we're doing switch splits or 3-way splits. So what we want to do is make sure that your hips are capable and loose enough to be able to rotate smoothly. Otherwise, it's just not going to work for you. So what we're going to do is called a figure 4 stretch. So you're going to lay down on your back, and you're going to put your knees, your feet flat on the floor and your knees up, okay? And then you're going to take a little bit more, Paige, your feet to your butt, okay? Then you're going to pick your right foot up, and you're gonna cross it over in front of your leg. Now you're gonna run your left hand in between, or your right hand in between, I'm sorry. Yep. And then your left hand around the back of your thigh, and then you're gonna pick that leg up and pull. Okay, the goal is to try to press your back into the floor, squeeze your belly really tight, push your belly to your spine, and then pull on your leg to stretch behind in your glutes and in your hips. So you should be able to feel it. Paige says she can always feel it like right through the back of her legs and in her butt, which is your gluteus maximus or your glutes. Okay, but it does open those hips up. This is a great stretch for you. You can see that she has a really nice pointy toe, and it's keeping a great angle. She's not letting that get flexy or loose, and that's a really important part of stretching. Having control when you stretch is super important. Is it possible for you to pull a little bit more? Is that hurting more?
Yes.
Okay, so we don't want to push you too much. You only want to stretch as far as you can tolerate. What you want to make sure that you do is that you don't bounce your stretching. You never want to bounce your stretching. You always want to keep your body in a stagnant, constant position when you're stretching so that your muscles can use their memories to remember where you're at. When you bounce, it's too much and your muscles can't retain that information and you'll never make any progress. Okay, we're gonna switch legs. So we're gonna take a second to switch around, and then you're gonna pull to the other leg. Yep, and then stretch that one. You wanna see Yeah, that one's tighter, huh?
Not really.
No? Okay, make sure
A
you're
little
pressing
bit.
your belly down and your back is pushing to the floor too. So you're stretching, really, you're working two things, right? You're stretching that behind your leg and in your hind end, but you're also working on that shape that's really important for tumbling with your stomach. If your back is flat to the floor, if there's no little arch in your back on the floor and you're flat like that, then you're in perfect position. If your back is round like that and there's air underneath you, then you want to push that belly a little bit more. So we can see Paige showing the difference. See, up and then pressing that belly to the floor is going to make it a little bit straighter on the against the floor. It's really important for your tumbling. If you can't squeeze your belly and your butt, then your back handspring will never go. You have to be able to do both, or your timing will be off for your team. Okay, so the next stretch that we're gonna do, this was good. How did that feel? Is everybody doing okay? Everybody's okay? Are you okay? Feeling it? Okay.
Yep.
So the next stretch that we're gonna do is called a pretzel stretch. This one is kind of crazy. Do you remember this one? Do you remember it? Okay, so you're gonna lay on your back and then you're gonna push that one leg in that 90 degrees to the front. Yeah. And then you're gonna roll up on your side and then press that back leg. Remember? Yeah. So she's gonna lean and then she's gonna pull this leg back and then roll her shoulder to the floor. You have to be on the, yeah, right. So she's gonna roll that back shoulder. So she's stretching a bunch of things. She's stretching her quad, she's stretching her hip flexors, and then she's stretching her back. And all of that is super important. If you don't have a flexible back, your back walkover will struggle. If you don't have flexible shoulders, your back walkover is gonna struggle. Your back handspring will also struggle because you won't be able to press open enough in your shoulders to get that reach that you need to get back and around. Okay, so we're gonna do this one and then we're gonna switch sides. So she's gonna switch her feet and make sure that she's up. Make sure you're up on that shoulder and then roll back to it. Now you don't wanna try to switch and stay in that position because when you do that, then you could be causing some damage to your back. So we wanna make sure that we're very safe with our back and you wanna slowly roll because one side might be more flexible than the other and you don't wanna hurt it. Think we should have had music. Next time, y'all, I'll put music on in the background, but I'm not starting now. So this flexibility is gonna be super important. I think you might feel some of it in your shoulders too. Can you push this other hand out into a T? Yep, there you go. Yep, there, yep. All right, so you're gonna, depending on how flexible you are too, you may not even be able to reach your toes. And that's okay. The goal for you is to just try to get there. Okay. If you're not able to reach your toes right now, which I guarantee you I couldn't, that's why she's doing it. That's that's part of the stretching process, right? And the truth of the matter is that your due diligence, your repeated practice every single day is what's going to make this happen for you. If you are a sporadic stretcher, then your body is not going to remember and you're not going to get the splits. You have to be consistent and do it every single day. So that's good, Paige. I think the next one we're going to do is called knees to chest. So she's going to just lay flat on her back and then she's going to pull both of her knees up towards her chest and she's just going to stretch. The goal is to remember that she's not letting her butt roll too far off so that her back rounds out. You want your back to remain straight, okay? If you're rounding your back out, then you are causing a problem for your lower back, and that's not gonna be good for tumbling. Now, you can take this same idea and turn it into a rock and roll, which is totally safe, right? But you don't want to do extended stretching in that round shape without a reverse stretch. So that's why we're working on keeping it. So when she does rock and rolls, you can see how her body rocks and she can reset. And that's what makes rock and roll safe. Okay, so that's where we're at with that. Okay, now We're gonna do some stretching for your hip flexors, one more, which is gonna be that that angle pose where it's the lunge page. It's called. Okay, so what she's gonna do is set up a lunge, yep, and then she's gonna push forward to stretch that hip flexor. So what this does, she's gonna push her knee over her toes, right? Yep, and that's stretching between the two. So that's gonna stretch right back there in her hip flexor right back there. So she can keep it toe up if that's gonna make it easier. If this is really hard and it's really hurting you, keep your toe up. But if this is not so bad, then you can set your toe down and then press, like push your foot back in the angle and see if you can get a little bit more stretch, right? Okay, so you'll notice that very little of the stretching that we've done so far has actually been similar to the straddle stretch. And that's because there's so many other muscles that are part of being a great splits person that these things all matter. The hip flexor is probably the most important muscle in jumping. So if you don't have strong hip flexors, your jumps will never leave the floor. You'll just be a very low jumper. Your hip flexors are super important. And next week, we're gonna do some conditioning around that. Okay, so can you switch to your other foot? So we're gonna switch so we can get that same stretch in our other leg while we're working. Okay, remember, keep good position. Try to keep your body straight, your hands straight, your toes straight. And keep everything centered. You don't want to let your hips roll side to side because letting your hips roll side to side means that you're cheating the stretch. Yes, thank you for showing that page. So if you're not keeping yourself centered, then that's going to be a problem. You want to make sure you're staying really centered over the stretch. Otherwise, it's not helping at all. I hope everyone is doing okay so far. I'm kind of excited to hear your feedback. Okay, we have a couple more stretches that we're gonna do, and then we're gonna show you the splits, and we're gonna talk about that timing. So if you're a cheerleader, want to be somebody who's thinking about coming out for the team, this would be a great series of exercises for you to do to get in shape for those tryouts that have, I know, been put on hold because of all of this crazy quarantine that we're in right now. So right now we're going to work over splits, which you have to have a raised surface for. So Paige has got her mat folded in 2. She probably could do it folded in 4, but we're going to leave it in 2 for right now. And so over splits works like this. She's going to put one foot on the mat. You're okay. That's okay. Move it. One foot on the mat. And then the other foot in the splits behind her. She's probably, yeah, that's okay. Push it a little more. No problem. It's a learning curve, y'all. There's a learning curve in this. Okay, and so you can see that she's try to pull your tummy in, Paige, so that your back isn't arching. You want to keep it as straight as possible. I want you to notice what her hips are doing. Do you see how she's not rolling her hips? Okay, cheater, cheater, pumpkin eater, cheerleaders roll onto their side and think that that's the splits. And you're wrong, cheater, cheaters, pumpkin eaters. See how you can see her knee? That's not right. Your knee should be touching the floor. The top of your foot should be touching the floor. This, everybody, is how the splits are supposed to look, right here. Do you see that? Okay, remember to keep your stomach in tight when you're holding your splits and keeping your body shape. Make sure you're not a cheater, cheater, pumpkin eater, because that's not going to get you the most points. I guarantee you that they're noticing that deduction. Now, these are front splits, okay? These are front splits. Cheerleaders do side splits, don't they? Don't they? We do. We do side splits. Okay, we're going to switch to the other side, and then we'll show you. So can you do this over split with the other side still to the front? Still to the front. Okay, the over splits to the front this is not her best side, Jill. So you can see that she's working it, right? So over splits are a super great tool to helping you yeah, I know. It's not 30 seconds yet. You've got to hold on to it. Yeah, it did. Okay, make sure that your hips are straight, Paige. You're kind of turning them. I see it. So when you're not flat, it's easier to rotate your hips and cheat the system, right? Remember to keep your shoulders over your wrists and your weight balanced, okay? You don't want to rock side to side or let those hips roll out because that's, again, cheating, pumpkin eating. And we don't do that because that doesn't get us anywhere, okay? So what I'm going to do is have her come out of those over splits, and I'm going to have her push the mat out of the way. Okay, and now I'm going to truly challenge my gymnast because I'm going to get her to set up for cheer splits. Are you ready for this, y'all? We didn't even practice. It's like a pop quiz for her.
I don't even know what this is.
That's okay. So what you're going to do is face the camera in a squat with your hands on the floor.
What now?
In a squat. No. Knees together, cutes.
Oh, okay.
No, babe. In a squat. Oh my goodness. In a squat.
Oh, like this.
Yes, thank you. Okay, then what she's gonna do is, I know, it's okay. Then what you do is, whichever leg you're gonna do, so do your good leg, which one is that, right? Okay, your good leg, you're gonna pop that leg to this side and pop that leg, yep, but you're gonna go long ways, straight. Nope, that's front. We're gonna do side splits. Yep, so you're gonna have that leg that way and that leg that way. So from this crouched position, you're gonna pop up to that splits position. Nope, that's middle, so you have to do the right leg. Aha, but now get off of your hips. Aha, okay, so get off of, you're still kind of rolling. Really trying to pull, there it is, okay. Whoop, yep, it's tricky. Okay, so here we are in the side splits. Now, can you go back to the squat and see if you can jump to that, like jump out to that with 2 feet at the same time? She's probably gonna hurt herself, y'all, but it's okay. She'll be all right. She'll be all right. That was funny. Okay, that's the idea. So this is how come cheerleaders are cheater, pumpkin eaters, because this is how we put the splits into our cheer. Do you see that? We automatically are shifting your hips into a rotation. Okay, but just because we're putting you into that rotation does not mean that you should still be a cheater. Okay, you want to try to be as straight as possible and then turn your shoulders. Yep, so the cheer position is fists on the hips. Yes, just like that. Perfect. Yep. Okay, so this is what we're looking for when we do the splits. Now the switch is a little bit more, is pretty easy. You're just gonna put your hands on the floor in front of you, and then you're gonna lift your butt up and switch around to the other side. Switch. So she's gonna have to hold on, y'all, because she doesn't have these splits. You can see that, she doesn't have these. So she's gonna have to hold on. You can.
That's not it.
But that's cheating. Okay, so right, the message that your coaches are sending right now, y'all, is they're putting you in the tightest outfits possible so that everybody, there's no question whether your splits are flat or not. So like Rochester cheers in shorts. When a long time ago, when I did it, we cheered in pants. And the reason was because the skirt hid whether you were flat or not, and we don't want to do that. We don't want to let the skirts hide it anymore. So we have really, really different attire to make sure that we're showing what we have going on. Okay, so the switch split, what I want you to concentrate on when you're working your switch splits, besides the timing, remember it's in an 8 count, I want you to work on remembering the position of your back leg and not letting your hips rotate too far. Okay, you do have to rotate a little, but don't be a sit back on your butt cheater, pumpkin eater. Okay, that does cause a deduction for your team. So you want to make sure that you're not doing that. If you're flat, but not flat, then that's still a deduction. Okay, because they know what to look for. Okay, right, thank you for holding those splits. That was great. Okay, the last thing we're gonna do is we're gonna do a stretch on the wall. Okay, and this wall stretch, we have 2 of them actually. These wall stretches are great for getting your flexibility behind your knees and for middle splits. Okay, so Paige is going to show you this middle split stretch on the wall. She's going to sit up to the wall and do straddle. Okay, and in that straddle, she's going to push her hips as close to the wall as she can. And so you can see she's really working these middle splits while we're on this little hiatus. And so hers are getting pretty good. So you can see she's pretty tight. There's hardly any room. And you want to make sure you're holding this for about 30 seconds again to make sure that everything is nice and smooth. And that stretch is really tight. Now don't push it. Remember what I told you. What should your knees look like? They should be straight. If your knees are not straight, if your knees are bending, then you're pushing yourself too far. You don't want to push yourself so far that your knees are bending. Okay, so this stretch you want to hold for about 30 seconds to a minute. You can complicate it or make it more advanced by changing your hand position, right? But try to remember that you don't want your knees or your feet to roll in. So no matter what you're doing, you want to make sure that your knees and your feet are facing the ceiling. What we kind of call sunny side up, right? Your knees are sunny side up. Okay, this last one, she's probably going to require a little bit of my help, so I'm going to have to get all the way on camera. We're going to do a wall stretch that helps get behind your knees in a better stretch than a pike stretch ever will. Okay, so I'm going to thank Coach Haley for this inspiration, because Coach Haley is the reason we have this stretch. We were working on her pike stretches or her pike jumps because they were kind of hanging, and she was frustrated with that. And so we wrote this stretch to kind of get her more flexible, and it significantly improved her pike stretch or her pike jump in just 1 week. So everybody, this is a really great stretch. If your legs are bendy, this is gonna fix it, okay? But be very careful not to overstretch yourself in this stretch, okay? In this one, it's super easy to overstretch. Okay, so what she's gonna do is lay on her back, and she's gonna scoot her butt all the way up against the wall and run her feet up. So she's gonna scoot all the way so that she's touching, okay? And then she's gonna let her hands kind of be out, and she's gonna drop to a straddle. She's gonna drop as wide as she can, but not letting her knees bend. Again, her knees have to be straight. If her knees are bending, she's a cheater, pumpkin eater, and we're not gonna do that, okay? Now, for some of you, this is already a lot, and that's okay, stay like that. But for some of you, you're like, yeah, Coach Lynn, this is way too easy. Okay, well, let me step it up for you. So what you're gonna do now is you're gonna put your hands on the floor, and you're gonna push up your body and push your nose to the wall. Remember, the most important thing is your knees have to stay straight. If your knees are bending, you need a friend, and that friend needs to help, okay? So I'm gonna head over to see if I can help her out, okay? Her knees are not really bending, she's okay, but I'm still gonna just kind of show you what that person would do. What that person would do is set their hands on your knees to make sure that your knees are not bending. So if her knees were bent like this, pushing out, okay, I would have to push her back, okay? Now, before you adjust to the next position, I highly recommend that you lay back down, because every time that you move, your bum scooches away, okay? I don't want you to change your leg position at all. I want you to keep that leg position until it's time to change. So we're gonna hold each one for 30 seconds, okay? Then we're gonna move up just a little bit, both feet, kind of to your typical straddle position, okay? Y'all, this should be the easiest one for you to get your nose to the wall, because in this stretch, you're in your regular straddle stretch from the floor. So she's gonna push up and get that nose all the way. Notice that she's keeping her back straight and her legs straight, okay, and her toes pointed. Okay, she does have space between the wall, but that is okay because her legs are still straight. Okay, so now we're gonna move to the next position. I'm gonna have her lay back down because I don't wanna overstretch her. So she's gonna scoot her butt. We're gonna move one more position up to about 3/4. Okay, we're almost in a full pike, but not quite, okay? So once again, for some of you, this might be enough. Like just keeping your knees straight will be difficult, but for her, she needs a little bit of a step up, so she's gonna again push up. Okay, I've heard from students that this can hurt their back if they're not careful. So be really careful with your position in your hands and make sure that you're using your arms to hold your weight. Okay, so in this position, she's struggling now to keep her knees straight and her nose will not touch. And that's okay too. It's only as far as you can go. Only as far as you can go. We're holding this one for 30 seconds and then we're gonna switch one more time. In this third switch, we could probably do it without laying back down, but we're gonna show you laying back down because I think that's the smarter way to do it, y'all. So she's gonna go ahead and you're cheating. She's letting her knees get bendy, you guys. Okay, lay down. Okay, scooch that butt one more time. Okay, and now we're gonna be almost to a pike. We're like right at just about, I don't know, less than a hand distance apart. Okay, this time she's gonna try one more time. Pushing up. No, right now she's good. Her knees are not touching, but they are still very straight. So she's gonna, yep, she's gonna push back up. Oh, I'm in her way. I'm in her way. Okay, she's gonna push back up. Keep those knees straight. Okay. Yep, it's a great arm workout too, y'all. And if you're careful with how you position your hands, you can get a workout in for the variety of muscles in your arms. Okay, keep those knees straight. Okay, so I can see at this level, we're getting extra stretchy behind her knees, and that's how come it's getting difficult for her to keep her knees straight. Okay, and the last one we're gonna do is put our feet in the direct pike position. So she's gonna, yep, she's gonna lay back down to get a little bit of stretch rest. Okay, she's gonna push her butt back. She's gonna put her feet totally together. Okay, her knees totally together, and then she's gonna rest those arms for a hot second. She's cramping you all. And then she's gonna push her body up one last time, and then I'm gonna show you how to stretch this out, because I guarantee you, if you've done this with us, you're feeling it, man. You're feeling it. Ready? Upsy daisy, 30 seconds. Ooh, look at that. Okay, so this one allows you to get a much better pike stretch than you'll ever get on the floor, because you're able to push your body flatter against your legs than you can on the floor. Your back doesn't allow for it in the floor position, but this one does allow for it in this position, and that's how come it gives a better stretch. I can see that it is stretching her a little bit beyond because her legs are bending a little bit, and I can see her having to redirect. Okay, so what she's gonna do is swing around so that she's sitting in a pike position like this on the floor. Okay, and then to stretch this out, y'all, it seems crazy, but this is what you're gonna do. You're just gonna shimmy your knees up and down like this and shake it out, okay? For some reason, I don't know, I don't have the science behind that, but for some reason, this particular stretch, or this shaking of your legs, stretches that out in a way that no other relief can be provided by. You can't get that relief any other way. So that's gonna be the best way for you to get that stretch. Okay, so what we've done today is talked about a lot of different stretches that have helped our body to get better at splits, right? So overall, we're gonna just recap. I'm gonna show you like this so you can see. We're gonna just recap, everybody. Stretching is super important for you to maintain, okay? The more that you stretch, the stronger your body is gonna be when it comes back, okay? If you're looking for things to do at home, please remember stretch, stretch, stretch. That is one of the most important things. The second most important thing you can do is stand on your hands. Be upside down and stand on your hands. Okay, so our series is going to concentrate and focus on cheerleaders, but what we're doing is going to be great for everyone. So I hope that everyone is going to be able to come in and enjoy what we're doing and learn from it. The biggest thing that I'm going to tell you right now is kind of what to expect from us in the future. So next week, we're going to be talking about, we're going to be doing a lot more intensive work, y'all. So next week, come ready to work out with me, because next week we're going to be doing conditioning for jumping. And we're going to talk about your jump positions and how to leave the floor, okay? Then the next week, we're gonna be talking about some of your tumbling skills and handstands to get your muscles in shape. So guys, I know like you bases are stressing out about like how are you gonna get all of that back, but listen, handstands are the secret. Those are the exact same muscles that you're using when you're picking up your flyer. So we're going to concentrate on that. And if you're a flyer, I'm going to show you some skills that you can do to help keep your balance and keep you in shape for flying, okay? And then the last one I have kind of planned out for now is gonna work on the shaping for back handsprings and work on some other conditioning to make sure that we're in good shape for stunting. Okay, so I hope that you've enjoyed our class. If you have any questions, make sure you drop us a message. If you have any ideas of things that you would like us to do for you, please drop us a message and let us know. And we're really excited to be working with you. And we're going to say bye for now.